All right, everybody, welcome in. It is Monday night, and welcome to the LTL show. We are live, and it's good to be back here on this Monday. Lots of things going on here in the state of Massachusetts. We're going to get into some local stuff first, and then we're going to do about an hour segment or so with Leroy Truth. Obviously, if you've been following my channel over the last couple of days, he had an incident, a cop flop incident down in Union City, New Jersey, where he's been doing a lot of investigative reporting out there in Union City. And I just can't with this video. I can't wait to get into it. I can't wait to hear Todd's take on this. I can't wait to hear Leroy's take on it and see your take on it here in the audience. If you haven't already, please make sure to smash that like button when you come in. And I'll just give you a reminder, 80% of the people that watch this channel are not subscribed. If you're over here as a first-time subscriber, smash the like button, smash that subscribe button. It's free to do that. And make sure to turn on all your bell notifications. But let's start this off. We'll get into some local stuff here in the state of Massachusetts, some very important stuff. Talk about Brian Walshe and some Karen Reed news today too. But I'm not going to do this alone. We're going to bring in one half of the three amigos. Nana's out on vacation, but gonna have my buddy Todd McGhee come in here. You guys are all very familiar with Todd. Todd, how are you on this Monday evening?
Doing very good, sir. How are you?
I'm well. We're gonna get into a few things this evening. We'll start it off with local, but before we get into the local stuff, I wanted to kind of set this up for when Leroy comes in. Obviously, we know about this incident that happened with Leroy over the last couple of days. He was arrested. He has some very serious charges that are being, in my opinion, falsely accused of what we're going to see here in the video. One is aggravated assault, and that's not, and you know this too, on a police officer, that's not a very minimal charge. It's a pretty serious thing. But when I got this video, I wanted to immediately reach out to you and have you take a look at it. And, I didn't premise it by anything. I just said, Todd, take a look at this and tell me what you think.
Correct.
And I remember getting your email that came back. And if you don't mind, can I read it to the audience?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, perfect. You said, after review of the video, I believe the charges will be dropped. The lieutenant is a terrible actor. And when viewing the video in slow motion, it looks like he lets go of Leroy's arm so he could fall backwards easier. And that's really the consensus take on all of this, since we've been going through it, and I've been going through it on my channel. But we're going to get into this. We're going to have Leroy join us around 7 o'clock. But let's start this off with some local Massachusetts news here first. Brian Walshe had his final pretrial hearing. And if you all don't know, oh, I just lost Todd. There you are. If you all don't know, this has been kind of an ongoing case over the last couple of years. Brian Walshe has been accused of murdering and dismembering his wife, Anna, and this was down in Cohasset, Massachusetts. And, this has a lot of connections and ties to a lot of the cases that we talk about on my channel because, one, the litigating factor is former trooper Michael Proctor was the lead investigator on this case as well as we know in the Karen Reed case. So let me just read through this, Todd, and we'll talk a little bit about this. So Norfolk Superior Court to take center stage again for Brian Walshe's murder trial. And here we are, Todd. Michael Proctor, the former Massachusetts State Police trooper who led the Karen Reed investigation, was on the updated official list of prospective witnesses submitted on Monday. Wow, this is going to get probably pretty juicy. Do you think they're going to put Proctor on the stand and grill him about text messages? What do you think?
So much has come out, Brian, from, the cloud text messaging, the original investigation prior to trial, the first trial, and with the attorneys, not just Brian Walshe's attorney, but all these attorneys that are trying these cases and have these defendants, they're gonna grab at everything possible in order to, just bring some level of reasonable doubt for the client. So that being said, Proctor being on the witness list, one, is not a surprise. Two, we kind of anticipated on the heels of the second trial, there was a lot of discussion about, the unbiased policing, the identifying certain charges and then trying to, make the charges fit, even though they were non-existent. So if that's a behavior and that's a pattern, then that's going to be problematic for the prosecution.
Yeah, and then we just went through his Proctor's IA testimony, and this was a point that I was making in this. And listen, I didn't think he was gonna do it, but I felt that he had an opportunity to clean all of this up, and he played the I don't recall, I don't recollect thing. And again, he's probably had some legal counsel on that too. But the thing that's very scary about it is that knowing that all of these text messages were on his phone, all of the things that we've heard since what they pulled all the way back records to 2013, and they still allowed this guy to get up and testify in the first trial, and that's the Karen Reed trial. And I find that wild, knowing, but it doesn't surprise me knowing that he was and I'm doing my air quotes here, the lead investigator in the Karen Reed case. And I believe, in my opinion, there was zero investigation. As we know, 16 hours in, Karen Reed's the suspect, and here you go. But I look at this, that the MSP in the Norfolk District County's office allows him to testify, knowing that this is all going to come out, and then the after effect, where this, and we talked about this, this is going to affect cases for years to come. And we just saw that article just recently. It was like 9 or 10 or 12 different cases that he's been involved in, and possibly, these defense attorneys now are going to start probably filing some motions and saying, gee, I wonder what he was saying about things in our cases.
Yeah, and you have some of these cases already have convictions. So that's where the length. But when you mentioned it's going to take years to sort this out, there's where some of those problems are gonna surface. The other aspect too, with Proctor's, all of the shenanigans, he was allowed to testify in the first trial, but keep in mind, as we learned, there was a limited area that the defense was able to ask questions on.
Hmm.
They had more information. That scope of questioning probably would have been much more substantial. And he wasn't called in the second trial, but um, interesting that he was allowed to testify just with a very narrow framework of questions. I think Jackson did a phenomenal job in working through those questions and on direct examination and or cross examination, where Proctor was the state's witness. So he had parameters. Jackson had parameters that he had to operate under, and he did a fantastic job.
Yeah, and I agree. And now look at, we've been hearing more about that Miles King case. It's got a little bit more of a higher profile now because of the Proctor connection too. And there are others. I mean, there are others that are going to be on the docket, and we're going to know that he's, been part of this. I want to see him. I want to see him testify in the Walshe case. I think that more about this guy is going to come out. And I'll be curious to see what they bring up in this trial too. I mean, and I have my opinion about Brian Walshe. I have my opinion on that. I don't know if the Proctor factor is going to sink it, because I believe that they're going to find so much physical evidence that ties him to Anna Walsh's his wife's murder. I think there's just so much physical evidence, but we'll have to see how this plays out. A question from Olaf. He says, a question: is Proctor on the Brady list since he isn't employed anymore?
Yeah, so I've been looking for that. I haven't seen it come up as of yet, and I'm wondering if that's because he hasn't been convicted of any crimes. But
Mm.
that being said, this thing ain't over. And there is a good potential chance that you could see Post, who tracks all this stuff, police officer standards and training for the Commonwealth. You could see them execute that option.
Yeah, and the rumor is that's been floating around on the online circle webs here is that the FBI has been back in town in Canton and sniffing around, driving around in some ice cream trucks. So I don't know. I mean, we're going to keep our eyes on it, but I never thought for an instant, Todd, that this was ever over with the FBI. I mean, they tend to completely investigate and gather all the facts before they strike. So we'll have
Yeah.
to see. All right. So let's just read a little bit more here and then we'll get into Karen Reed before we bring Leroy on. So Brian Walsh's high profile murder trial is set to move forward after the Cohasset father has been found competent Friday to stand trial for the murder of his wife, Anna Walshe. Jury selection will begin this week, and it is expected to be yet another Massachusetts murder trial that will garner public interest, similar to what we saw in the Karen Reed trial. I'll be honest with you, now that I have my press credentials, I'm going to try to get down there on some of my days off and sit in court and report on this. So Walshe faces charges of allegedly killing, dismembering, discarding his wife's body around New Year's Day in 2023. Anna Walsh's body was never found. Quote, that's obviously an essential element of any homicide prosecution. It's usually the easiest element of any homicide prosecution, but without a body, there's a little more difficult, NBC 10 Boston chief analyst Michael Cohen said. A judge determined Walshe to be able to stand trial following the competency evaluation at Bridgewater State Hospital. Quote, he has a number of important decisions to make, whether he wants to try and plea, whether he wants to testify, how he directs his defense, and all those other essentials to do as a defendant facing life in imprisonment. Norfolk County Superior Court is now expected to take center stage just months after the conclusion of the Reed trial. Well, I think like we saw in the Karen Reed case, where the investigators are out of Norfolk County Attorney's Office, that there is some real concern. They are now in the public and perhaps members of the jury as to whether an investigation was conducted as professionally and appropriately as it should be. Do you think that now, knowing how high profile Karen's case was, and everybody now learning about all of the corruption that was in that case, do you believe that this could literally taint a jury? I mean,
Well,
it's right.
well, you made a good point earlier. In this particular case, there's a lot of physical evidence, circumstantial as well, but you have tangible evidence that's that will be presented before the jury, and that could hold greater weight than part of the investigation. Now, that being said, was the investigation in the search criteria, was that done on the up and up? Right? Because they had warrants, but allegedly they went outside the scope of the warrants
Yeah.
in the Walsh matter. So, there's some things there that the jury could come back and say, hey, this wasn't a fair investigation, and although there's all these other factors, we're gonna call a mistrial.
And this is what happens when you don't do things by the book, right,
Correct.
Todd? Yeah.
Correct.
There's many fallouts. So there will be one main similarity that might provide some difficulty in prosecution. Former state trooper Michael Proctor served as the lead investigator during Reed's case and also involved with the investigation into Anna Walsh's disappearance. Let's see. It raises all those issues again about the level of professionalism as he did rush to judgment as he did rush to judgment in Karen Reed. And we talked about that 16 hours in. Did he rush to judgment here? So some of the evidence will still be used here to try to create reasonable doubt. In fact, Proctor was listed on the official list of prospective witnesses submitted on Monday. He's listed as a prosecutive witness for the defense. Other figures on the list from the Karen Reed trial, including Massachusetts State Police Sergeant Yuri Buchanan, Detective Lieutenant Brian Tully, and Lieutenant John Fanning, and Trooper Nicholas Guano. And I think he was the one that actually did the extractions, I believe, on all the devices and that iPad that had all those very incriminating searches. So it says the jury selection will set to undergo on Tuesday. And estimates jury selection will take about 2 weeks. Wow, 2 weeks, really? Really?
Brian, I think another distinction that we need to make between the two trials, and this came right from the jurors. This isn't Todd McGhee, making statements.
Sure.
But the Commonwealth never proved their case. The Commonwealth never proved their case, despite the poor investigation, despite solo cops, despite lifting, the crime scene, not investigating certain people that were at the party. All that being said, the prosecution just had a weak case to begin with. This is different. This is different. There's some substantial things that Walsh is evidence that's going to be held against him. So this is going to be, I think, as fascinating, and for different reasons, but as fascinating as Karen Reed trial.
Yeah, there was a report today that I was reading, and I think I might have caught it in another article, but they actually showed in Walsh's hearing today, they showed a video of a rug that I guess had been in Walsh's house, and Anna was there, and I think the kids were playing on it, and they were, basically they played the video and they said, well, what was the significance of this video? Well, that rug was found, I believe, in a dumpster behind his mother's house. I mean, that's
Correct.
pretty incriminating. And then
And
also, I think some other. Go ahead, Todd.
sorry, I was going to jump to, there's another example of physical evidence.
Yeah, and then you have, like all the suspicious activity afterwards, where he was driving all over town and, dumping off trash bags everywhere. They had the video of him going in, the receipts at like a Home Depot, buying, Tyvek suits and cleaning products. I believe there was a hacksaw that was bought. I mean, come on. And then I believe that they found the hacksaw or a hacksaw blade in his either their basement or the mother's basement, and I'm unclear on that. Maybe the chat can correct me, with some type of body matter on it or bone. I mean, I think once we started getting all the forensic testing of all this and the physical evidence that's there, I think this is all going to start adding up. And then there's some other reports that he hired a private investigator, and the defense is going to basically try to play that off and say, no, he didn't. And he didn't care about the results of any of that. I'm like, look, man, if you're hiring a PI to follow your wife around and question if she's cheating or not, that's a pretty clear motive for someone to be angry and obviously
Absolutely.
unalive their wife in this situation. So
Absolutely.
yeah. Yeah. So, we'll have to see how this plays out. It's going to be a very curious case. And it goes back into that Proctor factor. And, like we said, we've been talking about this over the last couple of weeks of the impact of bad policing. And this is what happens. You have all this, very gross fallout in all these cases where if they were handled correctly, there's no holes to be poked in by defense teams, with clear evidence that, someone has committed this crime. But if you're not investigating correctly, and this, Todd, you did this for many, many years, this is where it adds up. And, defendants that did things or were involved in crimes could get off.
What's another, I think, important and interesting fact that the two cases, the timelines are close in nature. And, given Proctor's behavior, we're just more likely than not be the same behavior with communication amongst his friend group, amongst family members. And it's just his language, how unprofessional, on a scale from 1 to 10. We saw in Karen Reed trial, it was about a 12. Is it going to be significant like we saw in the Karen Reed's trial?
Yeah. And thank you, Melanie, for correcting here. She said he wasn't the one that hired the PI, it was his mom. And then basically she's saying that he didn't want to know the results of that. So they're going to have to, defense team's going to really have to explain all that away. And Paula
Yeah.
says it's really sad to think that Brian may get away with murder because the corrupt police is insane in injustice to this victim. Yeah. I mean, Norfolk County DA's office needs a whole haul over,
Yeah.
and all these police officers that are connected to it, they need to go. They need to go. But I think Proctor was the first one to fall.
Yeah, that's
And
happened. They're gone. They've cleared
yeah,
house.
and I think that there's going to be some others, and those names that we just mentioned in the article, they should be looking too, with some people probably knocking on their door and asking some serious questions, and maybe some internal affairs investigations as well too. So
Yeah.
it would be nice if Connors would step up again and start questioning these guys, the Tullys and the Uris, and put in an IA for them as well too, and get down to brass tacks and find out and get the answers. So again, it will be a very interesting case to follow. I'm looking forward to seeing how this all plays out, and we'll keep talking about it here on
the
the show.
hearing today.
I didn't get to see it, so
Yeah, I caught a portion of it, and it didn't really discuss a lot about the investigators. The judge mentioned um, somewhat of the witness list from the investigators, but she kind of passed over it. So I would think, and when's the trial happening? It's Wednesday, Thursday?
yeah, they said jury selection starts on Tuesday. It's about
Yeah.
2 weeks for jury selection.
Yeah.
So
So, we're at crunch time now, unless they do, motions in between selection and continue on with all that other stuff.
yeah, I mean, you're figuring, let's see, Tuesday the 18th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, second week of December. I'm looking at maybe the 8th if this all goes well and they get a jury selected. I'm just curious. I wonder how long the trial will be. I mean, it's probably going to be what, a 2 or 3 week trial. It's not going to be a Karen Reed, marathon trial. I don't think.
Yeah, you're not going to have hundreds of witnesses.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it's just going to depend on how much, if they get Proctor on the stand, how much they're going to, want to go against him and see what they can peel out of him. So it'll be interesting. It's going to be an interesting case to watch.
That's going to be a heavy viewership day on those channels.
Oh, I believe. I truly believe. All right, let's talk about Karen Reed. I saw this pop up today. Excuse me. Again, let's see. Karen Reed. If I can get my, let's see. It's not going to work. Hang on a second. Let me refresh this. Sorry, guys. Leroy will be joining us in a moment. Okay. This doesn't want to work. That's not good.
I did see it on your screen before.
Okay. Hang on one second. Okay, I got it now. Sometimes they freeze with all the ads up there. So Karen Reed. Let's look at this. Karen Reed case. Alberts, McCabe's, Higgins eyeing defamation claims against Reed and Turtle Boy. The witnesses from the Reed's high-profile murder case are denouncing her cover-up claims as vile work of fiction. So it says, still hounded by conspiracy theories months after Reed's acquittal, several witnesses from a high-profile murder case are denouncing Reed's cover-up claims as vile work of fiction. The outlandish frame job allegations were part of Reed's scheme to defame and wrongly malign the prosecution witnesses and evade responsibility for the death of her boyfriend, John O'Keefe. Lawyers for Brian and Nicole Albert, Jennifer and Matthew McCabe, and Brian Higgins argue in a new brief recently served to Reed's legal team. All 5 witnesses attended an ill-fated after party at the Alberts home in Canton, where O'Keefe's badly wounded body was found in the snow on January 29, 2022. Prosecutors alleged that Reed drunkenly backed her SUV into O'Keefe while dropping him off at a gathering, but she claimed investigators in the after-party guests conspired to frame her. In June, a jury found Reed not guilty of her most serious charges, convicting her only on a driving misdemeanor. However, Reed's legal saga is far from over. She still faces a wrongful death lawsuit, which her hearing will be this Friday, the 21st. Another hearing, who maintained Reed was to blame for killing the Boston police officer. During September hearing in the civil case, Reed's lawyers announced her plans to bring legal action against several witnesses and Massachusetts State Police investigators, further complicating the proceedings. Reed is seeking to combine her conspiracy and civil rights claims with the wrongful death suit efficiently sake, but a judge has yet to rule on the request. The Alberts, McCabe's, and Higgins are asking that Reed's motion be denied and her claims filed in a separate case. The Commonwealth witnesses vigorously dispute defendant Reed's allegation and will defend against the false claims, the lawyers explain. They said that the defense will include motions to dismiss, a potential request to move the claim to federal court, and counterclaim against both Reed and Turtle Boy blogger Aidan Carney for defamation and other torts that they have committed individually in concert. So they're saying basically together. A staunch supporter of Reed's innocence, Carney racked up several criminal charges after he was accused of intimidating witnesses in the case, including the Alberts and McCabe's. Authorities later alleged that Reed leaked non-public information to Carney through, though she was never charged to witness intimidation. Meanwhile, Carney maintains his actions were protected free speech. Lawyers for the Alberts, McCabe's, and Higgins said they had planned to seek justice in separate action over allegations that Reed and Carney defamed and subsequently injured them through myriad false claims. Combining those defamation claims with Reed's conspiracy claims in John O'Keefe's wrongful death suit is procedurally improper at this stage and will make for a much more sprawling case, the lawyer argues. Reached for comment on the potential defamation claims. Reed's defense attorney, Damon Seligenson, I think I said that right, and I'm sorry if I didn't, via email, truth is the absolute defense to claim of defamation, and we will defend Karen Reed vigorously against the baseless claims. Carney said in an email that he is not served by anyone involved in the Reed case. He cited Jennifer McCabe heavily debating Hoslang no dying cold, Google search, and testimony from other witnesses in the Reed criminal trial, including defense crash experts who said O'Keefe's injuries were inconsistent and having been struck by Reed's SUV, and the defense dog bite expert who opined O'Keefe had been wounded in a dog attack. Carney also pointed to several witnesses who denied seeing O'Keefe's body on the Alberts front lawn early in the morning of January 29th. A group that included Higgins and McCabe's, given the evidence, he alleged the only logical conclusion a reasonable person could reach is what I've been saying for the last year. The people inside Brian Albert's house murdered John O'Keefe. Excuse me. The only reason they have not arrested and treated as suspects due to the corruption and incompetence of the Canton State Police, many whom have directed ties to Albert's family, Carney wrote, pointing out these facts are not defamation. They are free to sue me and bring this to trial, as I would be more than happy to keep their crimes in the public eye as possible, to keep the facts to the jury and let them decide who they think killed John O'Keefe. Notably absent from the opposition brief is Brian and Nicole Albert's nephew, Colin Albert, who was also present at 34 Fairview the night O'Keefe died. While Reed previously sought to implicate Colin Albert in their third-party culprit theory, she has not named him the civil conspiracy claims. The wrongful death suit is due back in court on Friday. First of all, I want to say Aiden's quote, I think, was great in this article. I think it was worded very well. And, you know, look, he's a journalist that had the right to talk about this case and explore it, to ask questions. You have the right under free speech to do that. We do that here on this channel and with the guests that I bring on. And, you know, we have things to say about this case as well, too. The thing that's very curious to me, Todd, is I look at, they keep trying to get Aiden and Aiden and Karen sticking together in all of this. And I still believe in my heart of hearts here that they're trying to find some excuse to try to indict Karen and try to nail her on some type of witness intimidation, even though they couldn't get her, you know, in this criminal trial because there was no evidence to lead up to show that she killed John O'Keefe. What do you think about all of this, Todd?
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. First of all, it's extremely difficult to prove defamation of character in Florida law. Very, very difficult. And I think they're going to have an even greater difficult time showing collusion between Karen and Aiden. That's, you know, regardless of them communicating freely with whatever texts, you know, in the past over the years, is completely different than setting up people and you know, trying to collude to get some of these players, you know, under the scrutiny of law enforcement. So I don't know. I see that as an uphill battle.
Yeah, I mean, you have every right as someone that's, you know, a subject of a trial or a subject of something that's big in the media to speak with a journalist, right? I mean, that's not a crime. We see this happening all the time. I mean, we see defendants in trials that talk on 2020 and go on ABC News and World News, and they talk to journalists. I mean, there's nothing wrong with what they did. And there's nothing wrong with what Karen shared, through Aiden's reporting. I just don't see a problem. It's like Karen did that spot with Ted Daniel. She went in an SUV and drove around with him for 2 hours and did that. She talked about her case. She was open and honest. Why are they not suing Ted? Why are they not going after Ted? Maybe because I'm just saying, Aiden dug a little bit deeper, and they don't like that. I felt like his reporting all this scratched just more than the surface. He got the bucket loader in there and dug deep into the dirt and went down 6 feet. And and they just didn't like that. And I
Yeah.
think, like you were saying, I think it's going to be really tough to get these claims of defamation.
I haven't followed that part of the story with Aiden, but I will bring up this perspective. You had the Sandy Hook conspiracy, Alex Jones,
Mm,
that had created a bunch of falsehoods. I'm not saying Aiden had done this or Karen had done this,
sure.
but there is, when you have something that's so egregious like the Alex Jones trial, then you can find defamation of character. Short of that, again, it's very, very difficult. He was publicizing straight up lies, where people had lost their poor, precious children. But anyways, not to go on a tangent on that, but
Sure.
you've got to have significant evidence to be able to prove defamation of character.
Yeah, and then I just look at it, I'm like, well, what are they gonna have? Like if you just keep going, if you're gonna go to the trial, they're not gonna want to bring anything up from the trial, because that's just gonna be used in the claim to counter anything. If they say,
Right?
oh, well, Karen hit him. Oh, really? Because we had scientists that actually got up here and testified that showed physical experiments that it did not happen. I mean, I just feel like every claim that's gonna come up in this suit is just gonna
Yeah,
be whacked by the trial.
yeah, they're going to be able to counter every essential argument, based on what came out in the first two trials.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't see. I think it's just probably the battle of the media now, knowing that Karen stepped up her previous hearing and said, look, if the O'Keefes are gonna sue me for wrongful death, well, we're just gonna bring in, and rightfully so, we're gonna bring in the MSP, we're gonna bring in Norfolk County, and we're gonna bring in all of the people that were at 34 Fairview that night. And I just feel like now this is like the counterpunch. Okay, well, you want to sue us? Well, we're going to sue you. And this is, in my opinion, it's going to be years before this gets all settled out.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing where Karen's now on the offense, that this is their. If they were going to sue, I thought they would have done it already. Like once the verdict came down, if they were going to sue, I thought they would have filed months ago. But here they are, and I think it's just an attempt to try and slow Karen down.
Do you think maybe it was the fact that maybe a lawyer looked at this? Maybe they were reaching out to, and we're only speculating here, reaching out to multiple lawyers, and they're like, I don't know if you're going to have a case here. I mean, could it be something like that? And then they just finally got the lawyer that's like, okay, I'll take it,
Yeah, I think
and let's
that's
run
that's
with
a
it.
reasonable thought. Yeah, definitely.
Hang on one second. Just Leroy's texting me. Okay, he'll be over in a minute. Yeah. So I mean, this is pretty crazy. And again, it's just gonna keep, for me, I feel like it's just gonna take forever to have this all pan out. And
Yeah,
who
these
knows what.
these things don't sort out quickly. And to do it right, again, you want to make sure for your client, you're crossing all your T's and dotting all your I's. So you want to make sure that a rigorous defense is going to be presented.
Yeah. And Boao says you have to have malicious intent as an element of a defamation case. Yeah, definitely have to have that, and,
Yeah,
it's gonna be really interesting. Mitch is asking, do you think the O'Keefe family has put the pressure on, asking why they aren't suing if they, uh let me read this again. Do you think the O'Keefe family has put the pressure on, asking why they aren't suing if they are innocent? I don't know, Todd, you wanna take that one?
yeah. I mean, again, I think as we both were just mentioning, Brian, that this is their counter. This is their form of a counter. Try and slow Karen down. Um, you know, the criminal aspect of this is done, unless someone comes forward and has new information, and you know there are allegations against an individual that was there at the party. That being
Yeah.
said, on the civil side of things, um, again, Karen's on the offense. They've got to be able to probably counter that momentum that she has. She's brought in new attorneys, right? So there's a lot on Karen's side that she's really preparing for.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just looking at some of the chat here. I'm just waiting. Leroy should be up with us a second. Um, yeah, I mean, but again, I keep just going back and I'm like, man, this is gonna be a long time till
Yeah,
this plays out. And I can just only mount like the mounting stress on Karen. Like she's gone through two very strenuous long trials. Her life has been on a public display for, a handful of years now. And now here we are, not even fresh from the criminal trial, just months later. And, here we are. And it's like you have to start facing all this civil suit and basically reliving all this again. I can only imagine that your mind hasn't come back to reality yet, and you're
yeah.
probably thinking that you could breathe a little bit after the criminal trial, but here you go. Here's the civil suit, and it's just going to ramp you back up again. I
And
can only imagine.
Brian, you bring up the aspect of reliving, which is certainly extending the trauma of this ordeal, but also the strategy and posture to take to be able to defend you, to be able to defend yourself again in a civil trial. And the burden of proof is different now. So this is our friend Dan Gallagher's world, but the
Right.
burden of proof is different. And again, she's got a team of wonderful lawyers that'll work through all that stuff. But it's a different strategy to
Yeah,
some degree.
much different. But I'm telling you, the pressure and stress
Oh,
is still there. It's crazy. I mean, I
would
couldn't
not
even
want to go
imagine.
through it.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine. Late night 702. Thank you so much for becoming a new member. I have sent the link to Leroy. If someone can call Leroy and let him know, I sent him the link in his text messages. Maybe he's got it. It's just saying delivered because he just asked me, where did you send the link to me? But let everybody know if you talk to Leroy, it's in his text messages here. But we'll keep talking a little bit. Let's see. Darcy says, wait, they are guilty of it and they're suing Karen. Really? Wow, this is very outrageous behavior. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I kind of thought that this was going to happen. But listen, and I'm going to be a little critical here. I look at the O'Keefes and I said, you just went through two massive trials. You found people to be caught that I'm saying that are on your side in massive lies. It all came out on the stand, and I still can't believe. And I don't know, maybe Todd, maybe there is a doubt in the back of the mind. They sit there some nights privately and go, you know what? Maybe they're right. She didn't do this, but why are they not asking questions? It's just insane that you wouldn't ask questions of the full party inside that house. In your son is out on a front lawn dead, that you wouldn't have any questions for those people in the house. It just makes no sense to me.
In for a pound, in for a penny, in for a pound. And I think sometimes the blinders get put on, and you just can't see past any other issues except for what's that grievance that they're carrying. Um, and where do they stand? If without this civil lawsuit, they're passionately trying to get justice for John, and it's just it just again, biased but humble opinion. They're going about it the wrong way.
Yeah. Oh, I don't get it. Vincent, I know you're in the chat. Can you let Leroy know I sent him the StreamYard link in his text messages? So I don't know if you can call him I sent it earlier today, and I'm not sure if he's getting my text or not. But if you can, please just let him know. We'll wait a second here, Todd. Everybody's coming in from another stream. I appreciate everybody jumping in. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel here.
It's free.
It's free to do that. You can smash that subscribe button. You can turn on the bell notifications. We have discussions like this all over the channel, and I can't wait for Leroy to get up and tell his story because we've been covering that as well. And make sure to smash that like button too. D. John says justice for John. Absolutely. Let's see. Tammy's asking, and I have heard this rumor. I heard the ice cream trucks, driving around Canton. She's asking, Brian, did you hear the rumor that Jen was seen with the FBI? I have heard that rumor. Again, it's just a rumor. It's alleged. But I put a little meme out there the other day, and I did a little computer generated AI photo of an ice cream truck that said FBI ice cream on the side of it going through Canton, and the little ice cream
all your favorite
truck.
flavors.
So we'll have to see. All right, the man of the hour. Here he is. We got Leroy Truth, a investigative journalist and First Amendment auditor. I want to welcome to the show here. Leroy, welcome to LTL. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. We just did a 1.5 hour live stream with Josh of Accountability for All. He made some really great points, really great commentary. And he also, I told everyone I'm going here. He asked everyone to join you here. So hopefully you have more people here as well.
Listen, it's been a very crazy couple of days for you. I'm glad that you're safe. I'm glad that, you're up. Your health is good as far as we know. And I'm glad that you could join the channel. And I wanted you to have an opportunity to come up and speak with my good friend, retired Mass State Police Todd McGhee, and ask some questions, and we'll go through your video. But can you give us a little bit of a brief history as to what's going on in Union City, through your investigative journalists and what you've uncovered that's kind of now put you into this situation?
Right. Well, number one, thank you for inviting me on your show, Brian, and you're awesome. And if you're not subscribed to Brian and you're watching, because many watch us but don't subscribe, please subscribe to LTL Media now. And Todd, it's a pleasure to meet you. I've heard some very good things about you. I've heard you saw the video with no context. You just saw it as an objective observer, and you saw, what everyone else sees, the truth. So I'm interested to hear directly your perspectives, and to give you the Cliff Note version of how I came to be arrested unlawfully and why we're here. Is back on December 1st, only a few weeks away now, December 1st, 2023, I was invited for what I thought was a routine First Amendment audit. Of course, there is no such thing as a routine First Amendment audit by Good Guy Activism. And he is awesome. His name is David, and he's awesome. And he didn't give me any information about Union City. And he asked, you want to go, I think there was 2 different cities. Then I think he said, either, which one you want, Union City, or maybe he came up with that. And it's okay, Union City. I don't think I even heard of it. Now, it turns out he got a tip from the exposure report, also named David, that there was some allegedly dirty things, corrupt things that the mayor and senator simultaneously, Brian Stack of Union City, was engaged in. I had no clue about that. We just went there, First Amendment audit. And I went there as I'm usually dressed in my suit and tie, and with my camera and a small monopod tripod piece. And unfortunately, but typically within minutes of me arriving, a Good Guy had gone in earlier. So we were completely separated there. The first place I went to was the place where they take all the money for all the traffic tickets and municipal fines. And I simply went there and I asked, what they do there. And a woman said, "Stop it. Are you recording?" Of course. And they're behind bulletproof glass, by the way. And there's a lot of distance between us. And she's like, "Are you recording?" Like, "Yes, I am." "Stop recording." "No, silly, I'm not going to stop recording. I'm documenting my interactions." "But I got private information here displayed on my desk. You want me to lay on my desk?" I said, "Well, if you want to." But it's not my job to create privacy. It's yours. And then she called. She said, "I'm going to call a supervisor or 911, whoever she called." And then I left, and there was really no positive stuff I'm getting here, information, because I'm always legitimately curious. How will people describe their positions and their roles and what they do to the public? So then I had no clue where it was. They had at least 3 floors or 4 floors there. And I happened to end up in the pre-lobby of Mayor Brian Stack's office. And this gentleman from, I think he's from Dominican Republic, he walked past me, and I asked him, "Are you Mayor Brian Stack?" He's like, "Oh, no, I don't know who he is from Adam." And Brian Stack's a white guy, it turns out. I didn't know who he was. And then suddenly a detective shows up named Detective George Haber. He's in the pre-lobby of the police. And here's where everything went south, but not south with the police. This is going to be surprising for those who don't know the story. It's all on my YouTube channel on Leroy Truth Investigations. Please subscribe, and it's there around December 9th or so, 2023. And suddenly this detective named George Haber shows up, excuse me, and he was a little defensive initially, and he asked, "What's going on?" But he wasn't like really angry, but just a little, a little bit defensive. And I told him, "I'm simply taking a tour of your beautiful town hall here, beautiful building, and documenting and recording my interactions as I ask questions." And he instantly changed. Again, not that he was major negative, but he was, doesn't know who I am, etc. He said, "Oh, you have a First Amendment right to do this." And I said, whoa, stop. You just protected my rights. Why did you do that? Because you have a First Amendment right to do what you're doing. And then the front desk person says to me, "Oh, but he won't give us his ID." Detective George Haber says, "But he doesn't have to give you his ID. This is First Amendment protected activity. As long as he doesn't go into bathrooms, private offices, he's good." And then he said, "Please tell everyone he has a First Amendment protected right to do everything he's doing. I can't keep coming up here." And I celebrated him because we are all about creating bridges. And if there are police officers who do the right thing, I will be the first to report on them, because I am not of the "it's us and them, cops bad, we good." There's good in everyone. The system is a whole other situation. The police system, the culture is a problem nationwide. But if we can build bridges to connecting with police officers who do the right thing, that's fundamental to my channel. So I was done with Union City. I had a great interaction. It was Christmas time, around Christmas time, and I posted the video. And because it wasn't full of drama and, police officers threatened to arresting me, didn't even get a lot of views, maybe, I don't know, 8, 10, 12,000 views. But I don't care. I wanted to celebrate and show people what a good police officer protecting and serving my constitutional rights does. Because how do you inspire more police officers to do the right thing? You don't eviscerate them. You don't yell at them. You show them examples, because ideally it will inspire other police officers to do the same thing.
Sure.
And I was done with Union City. It was actually, overall, except for the first part, calling the police on me and good guy activism, is actually a positive experience. However, this is where things got crazy. Within a few days, because Detective George Haber did not try to violate my rights, he did not threaten me with arrest, he did not try to remove me from the building. Allegedly, Mayor and simultaneously Senator of New Jersey, Brian Stack, had him allegedly retaliated against. Insane. He took him from the record room where he's working, like, probably 9 to 4, 8 to 4 or something, and put him on a, garbage, like 4 p.m. to midnight shift, made him a beat cop again to retaliate against him. He made Union City, the mayor, Brian Stack, all the police department look incredible to the whole world. But Stack is, to say an alleged narcissist would be not describing it strongly enough. But he will not let any good deed go unpunished. And so people started contacting me. "Hey, that detective who did the right thing, he's being retaliated against." I did a story on that. Then people started saying, "Hey, Mayor Stack is dirty." And they started giving me allegations of corruption, pay to play, bribery, extortion, assault cover-ups, including an alleged assault that he allegedly did to a female pastor. Voter
And this is where you
intimidation.
started digging in. You started digging
Right.
in now.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm getting 1, 2, 5, 10, 20.
Yeah.
Voter intimidation done directly to Unity City workers by him. I mean, and this guy is also the head of the Senate Judiciary Committee in the state of New Jersey. He picks all the judges throughout the state, all the prosecutors, even the attorney general indirectly. He owns the court systems. He intimidates, allegedly, and manipulates many outcomes in court. This guy is dirty.
How did you end up in the situation that we saw in the video? Take us to that point there. How did you get there? Because you're digging into stacks. You found out something about an assistant principal in one of the schools, and you started digging into that, correct?
Right. All right. And so I received over 5,000 allegations of corruption against him in the last 2 years. I have been attacked dozens of times, physically attacked, robbed, ripped out of a church on orders of Governor Phil Murphy, ripped out of a Senate Judiciary hearing on orders of Brian Stack because I called him corrupt during my public comment time. And then I have been getting numerous women coming to me saying that they were assaulted and that they were retaliated against when they would go to the police, Union City Police, allegedly by Mayor and Senator Brian Stack. And so people started bringing me information about and allegations about a Union City teacher in New Jersey named Edwin Martinez, and former football coach, current assistant principal and teacher. And dozens of people came forward and they were saying that this teacher was allegedly having with students as young as 9th grade. And it wasn't an open secret. It wasn't a secret. It wasn't open secret. It was just open. And he's been being protected allegedly by Senator and Mayor Brian Stack for over 23 years. Wow. And he even married one of those students that he allegedly was having with since she was in the 9th grade. She told me, she came on my Facebook, not on an interview, but commented after the story broke when a 2003 graduate came out. I'll tell you that story in a minute. And she admitted, she said on my Facebook that, wait, Edwin Martinez, he waited until I was 18. And then he asked my father, the right to marry me, not waiting for everything else, allegedly. And then she quickly deleted that comment, but I had screenshot it. And shortly after I posted a video interview, myself and the Exposure Report with David Snow, please subscribe to him. Amazing friend, amazing channel. Within a few hours of releasing those allegations directly from a graduate, but I'm going to tell you more what he said, I received my first death threat in regards to that, not since I started this, but in regards to that. And they said I should die a painful ... etc. And I simply report the allegations. I'm not saying he's guilty or innocent. I'm saying this now. I am making no statement of fact in regards to Edwin Martinez. That is not for me. That is for a court and a jury and a judge. I will bring these allegations forth. And how I ended up there is because after this graduate reached out to me, 2003 grad, he said, Leroy, my friend's been watching your work, and I've seen some of your videos, and I want to tell you that I used to be a football player in Union City when I was 15, or when he was 15, he said. And that the football coach was named Edwin Martinez. And what Edwin Martinez would do, according to Jonathan, is when they were at football events, he would call all the children into a huddle. And suddenly, out of the blue, he would say, who wants to see my ... And he used, the whole words there. And Jonathan said before anyone even had a chance to process that, he would suddenly whip his ... out and show all the children. And then he would put it back in. And then whoever he caught looking at his ... he would then call him the gay kid. And then all the other kids would make fun of the so-called gay kid. And as psychologists have reached out to me, they've said that's a grooming technique. He made it into a game, so the kids didn't snitch on the coach, but apparently all the other coaches knew about it. All the other teachers knew about it. For over 23 years, he was doing this. And then I had numerous other football players reaching out to me. One graduated last year, and I asked, I was telling the father this, and he said, oh, my son just graduated last year. He asks his son, hey, so-and-so, did Coach Martinez ever whip his ... out to you? Knowing his son would say no. And his son said, oh, yeah, he used to whip it out all the time. And the father was freaking out. He said, I want to go. And he said he wanted to, do some crazy stuff. I said, no violence, only through the law.
Right.
And him and his wife were going crazy. Then I personally spoke with this person, this graduate one-on-one, who only graduated last year. I said, what happened? I didn't tell him about the other. He gave me the same story. And he would
So
say,
you went to inquire about this, right? What was the public records request that you did that got you in this situation?
yeah, but before that, I asked him, how old were you? Assuming he was 15 as well. He said he was
Right.
7 when the coach was doing this for 4 years.
Wow.
So then I attempted to have a meeting after this explosive interview with the superintendent of schools, Sylvia Abato, and she wouldn't call me back. When I called, she would not available, and I would leave my number, and she would never call me back. And she is the only one who schedules her appointments. So I went peacefully to the Board of Education. Now, this is leading up to it now, about maybe a week and a half ago, and I went there to peacefully ask for an appointment with her, or to meet with her, and to do some Oprah Freedom of Information requests. And they said, no, she
Right.
won't meet with you. You got to make an appointment. I tried to make an appointment. She then called 911 on me. Sylvia Abato, superintendent of schools, had 6 police officers show up. Now, that particular time, the Union City PD did a good job that particular time. They did not escalate. They did not try to get me to leave the building. I think at one point they said, well, can you fill it out outside? Like, no, I'm in a public lobby. And then I was there. I ran out of time because it took so long to get in the building. And as soon as it was 3:00, which is when it closes, I left the building. Then I went there again after I called numerous times to try to meet with her again, because I want to protect the Union City school children. This teacher is still teaching this very moment. And it had been almost a month since that explosive interview came out. And Mayor Brian Stack, who completely controls the Union City Board of Education, who he hand appoints, and Superintendent Sylvia Abato, who he hand appoints, they do whatever he says. And Brian Stack refused to suspend this teacher to spite me. It's the most insane thing. Because it's not personal with me. I'm doing my job. I'm exposing a corrupt politician. But
Right.
he's hurting kids with this. And he's been
Mhm.
allegedly protecting this alleged predator for over 23 years.
Mhm.
So I went there a second time, and they locked me and another survivor from a school system nearby out of the building. They wouldn't let us in. So I had to call the Union City Police to make the Board of Education open the building for us
This
during
is the
business
video
hours.
this is part of the video that we saw, right? This is the time that this happened, correct?
Right. This is all within the
Yeah.
last week and a half.
Got
So
it. Got it.
so the police forced them to open it up, and they wouldn't even open the building up for the police. And by the way, the Union City Board of Ed building is
So
completely
interesting.
miles away from any schools. There's
Right.
not even a connection there. And so they let me in. The police let me in. I'm filling out an Oprah. I am attempting to I'm asking to speak with the superintendent to ask her to suspend Edwin Marinez until an independent investigation. I then
Right.
run out of time again because they left us out in the cold for an hour. We couldn't get in for an hour before the police got there. Then I went to the Board of Education meeting the next day. They were so terrified of what I had to say. I was forcibly removed the week before last by Union City Police because they said trying to protect children from an alleged
Right.
predator teacher is not on the agenda. And I just
And
got criminal
that video's
charges.
on your channel. Yeah, that
Yep.
video's on your channel. We
Yes.
played through that. Yep.
Yep. And I just found out as soon as I got out of jail, the day before yesterday, that there are new criminal charges against me for disrupting the public meeting because I had the gall to share these allegations against this principal to try to get him suspended. And now I have new criminal charges. I've lost track. There's so many.
Right.
And then I went to a commissioner meeting where within 1 minute of me speaking about this during my public comment time, which I did both times, Mayor Brian Stack shut the entire meeting down. 1 minute into my 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yep.
Now bringing up to this event now. So then I went there peacefully once again after I had called Sylvia Abato because I'm an assault survivor, having been assaulted by a Catholic priest for 4 years while I was an altar boy, starting at the age of 7.
Wow.
I know what the children have gone through and the adults who went through that. And so I am committed to getting Edwin Marina suspended until the outcome of investigation. And what happened? They wouldn't let me in the building again. So I called the police once again so that they would force the Board of Education to let me into a public building. Now they have a buzzer. They buzz people in, but that doesn't mean I can't go in. Every single person who
Right.
buzzes that intercom gets in that building, except me. And the superintendent of schools told one of the security guards that she left word with all security guards, don't let Leroy Truth in. That would seem a little bit prejudiced against me, shall we say. And so,
Yeah.
so they didn't want to let me in again. And a police officer named Officer Beto of Union City Police initially did an incredible job. And he was like, he's getting me in there. And initially, when they finally opened the door for him, they said, well, you can come in, but he can't. And Officer Beto, he wasn't having that. Like, no, he's coming in. So I'm in that building because the police escorted me in.
Right.
And all I'm doing, two things. I attempted to make an appointment peacefully, or actually to speak directly with Sylvia Abato. And they said, no, she's not available. Again, this is going on for a month now.
Mhm.
And then, okay, I'm going to do an Oprah request about some relevant things to Edward Marinez and some other Board of Education members. However, as I'm doing it now, there aren't just one cop, not two. Now there's
Yeah.
4 there.
Right.
And why? I'm sitting in a public lobby, which I've done numerous times over the last 2 years. No one ever told me I had to leave while I'm doing this Oprah request. And then at one point, there was a woman that came in, a mother of a teenager. And when she was there, I simply asked her, hey, ma'am, have you heard about, that there's a teacher, an alleged predator, assaulter?
Sure.
I don't even use the whole word, though I certainly could have. I'm not even using it now.
Right.
And she wasn't interested, and that's okay. She doesn't have to engage with me, but I certainly have a constitutionally protected right to ask questions in public of other humans. And it was no big deal. And it was a teenager, I don't know, anywhere from 15, 17, pretty tall,
Yeah.
tall guy. And then Lieutenant Glenn Gaston, he was gone. He was in the back somewhere. And some of my sources have told me, this is alleged, not confirmed, that he was on the phone allegedly with Mayor Senator Brian Stack, and that he was to escalate with me to the point where any possibility get aggravated assault, fall. And when he came back, I wondered, why does he engaging with me? And why does he continue to engage and escalate, even when another police officer is trying to de-escalate him?
Yeah.
And I saw he was on a mission. And I just want him to stop talking with me, which I said numerous times. I asked him
Right.
to de-escalate. And one of my foundational pieces is professionalism and de-escalation. I will never swear on my channel. I never swear at a police officer or anyone, not just police officer, any person. And in the course of my duty, and he's escalating. It's like, what is he up to here? And I literally had 3 minutes left before I was done with my Oprah Freedom of Information request. And then I had other appointments I had to go to. I wasn't interested in staying there all day. There's no reason to. And even though I technically could have, but I didn't have any reason. I was 3 minutes away from being done, complete, and leaving.
Yeah.
But he keeps escalating until then he grabs me. And I know you've done
Yeah.
analysis on this.
Let's do this. We'll play through it, and we can narrate through it, and then
All right.
let's just do that. So let's play through here. Here we go.
They say you can't make this up. You can make anything up, but you don't have to because it's so crazy reality. Mayor of Bayonne, New Jersey, Bayonne, Bayonne. He was in a lawsuit that he was accused of sexting an employee, like majorly. And he was part of a lawsuit. I think it was like $180,000. But that same judge, even though he was the focus of that lawsuit, she got him out of it. His name was taken out of it. Isn't that crazy? And guess what? The mayor of Bayonne, who's protected by Mayor Stack, just like Edward Marinez is, he was just elected sheriff of Hudson County. And
Now this is the mother that allegedly put the complaint in, correct, Leroy? Right here, right?
Well, he's. I don't know. I don't know if he even really did. Again, I don't
Right.
believe the cop for a minute. And
Right.
they may have even solicited. They would have solicited the complaint. She wouldn't have, in a million years, said, "Hey, I
Right.
want to do a formal complaint." By the way, there is no formal complaint for harassment that I received.
Right.
And so I think she just made it all up. I mean, he did.
Yeah.
One of
let's
his
play
best
through here.
friends was head of federal. He was just found guilty in an internal investigation of major harassment of a female Hudson County police officer. Now that Mayor Jimmy Davis is going to be Hudson County Sheriff, he allegedly is going to protect that Lieutenant Matt Federal, one of his good friends, and he won't be fired. Probably about 10, 15 more minutes. Okay. Hey, hello.
She's waiting for, she has an appointment.
Oh, how did she get an appointment? I've been trying for a month.
Wait, Leroy.
Yeah.
So, get an appointment.
You have to tell the door. Tell the door.
They won't let people through this door now. Hey, ma'am, did you know that there's an assistant principal who is accused of assaulting students, and he's teaching right now in Union City schools? He's accused of whipping his ... out and allegedly having sex with students. Can I share this with you? Your children may be in danger, ma'am. You don't want to hear? This is about alleged assault, ma'am. Do you not care? This is a teacher, Edwin Marinas, right now. Insane. The parents don't care.
Leroy, I'm gonna have to ask you. Leroy, I'm gonna have to ask you.
No, I'm not
talking to women about things.
I could talk about anything I want.
But you're making them uncomfortable. And we're giving you an opportunity already to fill out the paperwork.
But you're not giving me anything. I have a right to fill this paperwork out, and I have a right to ask them questions.
No, you don't. These are people walking off the streets, coming into the building, and you're talking to them about sex assault and what like
Yes,
that.
because that's what I'm here for.
And there's a
I'm
juvenile
trying to
here.
protect children.
Yes.
I'm trying to protect children here.
Yes.
And if you're saying she's uncomfortable, well,
But
do
there's
you
a
think
child-
those children
there's a child
are
with
uncomfortable
her.
being assaulted?
And there's a child with her as well, Leroy. And you're talking about sex assault, and there's a juvenile sitting there with her, trying to get enrolled in school.
Well, at least Edwin Marinas doesn't work with that kid whipping his ... out
Yes,
allegedly.
you can't talk about whipping things out in front of a kid. The kid was just here. Leroy, think about the position that you're putting us in with that.
There's no position.
Yes, you're talking about sex assault in front of a kid, and
I'm asking a parent to help protect other children.
And they will. And we're asking you to leave.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Now this is where this gets very, very interesting, and this is something that Todd and I talked about, and the officer here with the beanie, and you're going to see a lot of de-escalation techniques, which is very strange because usually it's on the person that the police might have an issue with or a problem, but you're actually going to see this officer do de-escalation techniques on his own partner, like his lieutenant, and you're going to see this here in a minute. Go ahead, Todd.
What's interesting with the reinforcing of a need for de-escalation training, there's also another element with police reform called duty to intervene. And so this officer in the beanie, he's actually intervening because he can see the lieutenant's escalating this engagement with Leroy.
That's insane. That this is like, even this guy's getting it. Like, I think he's sitting there and he's going, and this is my opinion looking at this, like, hey, my lieutenant's kind of gaslighting and bringing this thing up. I mean, literally, and you're gonna see this here. He's gonna ask beanie cop, I'm gonna call him the cop in the beanie, is gonna ask Leroy again, cordially and nicely, like, how much longer do you have? And literally, if you just, and the funny thing about this is this, all the time that was wasted, Leroy, in another minute, you would have had your request filled out, and you would have left.
Right. I would have been done. But here's something else, though, that's very important to note. Even this guy's right now, he's trying to be helpful. It's none of their business how long my Oprah request takes. There should be no police in this lobby right now. They could look, assess, see. I am not posing a threat to anyone. I already had asked for the appointment for Sylvia Abato. Once again, she declined for the 100th time. I didn't make issue with it. I didn't,
Right.
And I then moved on to doing the Oprah request. And that's it. And I would have been done. I've done this numerous times over the last 2 years.
It's wild. All right, let's play through here.
I'm going to finish my work here.
We just finished the keys.
I'm going to, because I have a right to be here.
Yes.
I have not broken any law, have I?
No, but
Yeah, actually, yes, you're infringing. The woman right now may have felt harassed or uncomfortable that when you asking those things in front of her.
I'm trying to help protect children here.
Yes.
And And that's the bottom line. That's why I'm
You're
here.
talking about sexual assault in front of a woman with her son.
What
She
is
had to be-
what
she
is
had to
worse? Asking a mother if
That's not
she
the
will
debate.
help protect
There's
the
a
other
place-
school children?
There's a place.
Oh my God!
There's a place and time for everything.
I asked you to
There's a
stop.
place.
Lieutenant
There's a place and
Gaston,
time.
you are not.
There's a place.
You are
and
not
time
the
for
word
everything.
police, Lieutenant Gaston. You're
No,
not the
neither are
word
you.
police.
Neither are you the
Well,
word police.
I'm not the
There's a
word
place
police.
and time.
I'm the
But
freedom
if she
man.
feels as though uncomfortable about you talking about sex assault to her, then
Is that?
and that she's in a public building, what you're trying to say, she should be able to come and go without being made uncomfortable. Just like you. Your rights. Your rights.
That's not on.
Your
That's not on me. Okay,
your rights
stop.
don't go.
I want to finish this.
All right.
You're doing cosplaying right now. I'm not interested.
I'm doing. And
That to me was the first bridge. That arm check from the cop in the beanie into the direction of the lieutenant is to me the first physical body language that we see, Todd. That's kind of like, okay. And now you're going to see, what I see here is he's going to turn at some point. He's literally holding back his lieutenant. He gives him the arm tap at one point, like, okay, all right. I mean, major de-escalation by this cop in the beanie. Todd, what do you think about this?
Yeah, he's actually, Brian, he's actually moved even closer. He was further away in the frame. If you were to go back, you would see he moved in closer to be able to interrupt the back and forth.
Yeah. And he was like almost holding him back at one point. Leroy, thank God that you had that 360 camera with you, man. I said this all along. I mean, this is such great evidence that you're going to have here to fight this back. And I know that you're going to win in this case. All right, let's keep playing here.
you were doing agitating. You're trying to agitate.
I'm
and
trying
all
to
you're
protect
doing is-
children from
yes.
sexual assault,
Yes.
for God's sake.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to do for over a month here.
Are you that or grandstand?
Oh, see,
Or grandstand.
now
Reality is-
you are
yes,
going
yes,
down
yes.
the tubes, Lieutenant Gaston.
No,
You need to
that's
close
it.
your mouth, stop
I don't need to
talking,
close my mouth.
and
All
I don't.
right.
As long as I'm
stop,
saying- as long as I don't say
disengage,
anything
de-escalate,
inappropriate.
disengage.
You de-escalate.
Stop talking.
I don't have to
All
de-escalate
right,
because
come
I'm not.
Shut your mouth.
No,
I have a right
I'm telling you.
to
listen,
speak
listen,
here.
Listen. All right. All right.
No,
Listen,
you're not
listen,
being
listen,
respectful to me
understand.
right now.
You're not being
Stop
Pause there a
respectful.
minute. Pause.
Yeah, and then I
Stop.
can speak to you.
Stop talking
If
to
I
me.
ask you, come on.
Disengage.
No, I want to talk to you about the law. No, I want to talk to you about the
I
law.
am going to
If
finish
I
this right
ask
now.
you, the time and place to debate,
Look at this.
the time.
That is
Pause. Can you hear me,
incredibly
Brian?
hostile as well, too.
Yeah. And before that, I guess you couldn't hear me. I was asking the pause before. You see the female officer? She is the fiance or girlfriend, or both somehow, of Captain Omar Hernandez, who was the captain who unlawfully arrested me last year in the middle of my
Oh, wow.
public speaking time. Stack told her, he says he doesn't run police operations. He does. We even caught him on radio, by the way. He was on a police radio unlawfully barking orders at the police. Where are you standing? Where are you going to be? Make a perimeter. And one thing to note with that female officer there named Officer Ivis Arias, she was flexing her fingers. She knew what's coming down.
Yeah.
That's not something you do hanging out, just kind of seeing what things are work. She's pumping herself up. She's psyching herself up. She knows because this was the whole plan. And then just where you paused it here now, look at where his hand is.
Yeah.
He's blocking me. That's an aggressive move because I'm not buying his intimidation stuff. I just want to be left alone and to him to disengage, de-escalate, so I could finish my Oprah. And 3 minutes after that, I have another appointment I got to go to.
Todd, what is your take on this so far? That let's just even the 30 seconds that you just saw here. Kind of at some point, this lieutenant's almost getting in Leroy's face, and now this kind of aggressive posture. What do you make of this so far?
I've watched this video multiple times myself, like many, and there's a point where when you've seen this enough times, there's a point of no return, and we're already past it.
The officer,
the lieutenant, there's a Lieutenant Gaston. There's a point of no return, and right now he's processing how he's going to put Leroy in cuffs. It's just clear to me. The female officer, see the hands on the hips, Brian?
Yeah.
You know how I always talk about body language? That's called arms akimbo. That's to make yourself appear larger than you really are. It is what it is. Anyways, I digress.
Is that with the hand too? Is that an intimidation tactic? Do you feel? This is
Well, I mean, he stepped into Leroy's space. There was no reason to do that. You know, look where his position is now compared to where it was against the back door there. So he's escalating, and you know, there was an opportunity to let Leroy finish, and he just kept going. He just kept going, and he didn't say anything new. He kept going with the same position. So, you know, at some point, you cut the dialogue, you disengage. If they're going to monitor, you know, that's their right to monitor, but to escalate the situation is unacceptable.
Those are good points, Todd. And also, if they, you know, if they were going to stand there and monitor, again, they, as you said, they have a right to do that. And I never said, you know, get out of here, guys. You got to move. I just told Gaston, disengage.
yeah, you just want to go on with your
de-escalate.
business.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
You
it's
just
real
want to finish
simple.
your business.
And you see my
Yeah.
body language. I'm not. I'm relaxed. I'm, you know, I'm turned away from him. I have no interest in engaging with this guy. And I'm
Yeah.
against the wall here, and I'm on a seat in a chair with a pen and 3 pieces of paper. You know, I just want to be left
Well,
alone.
what did I tell you, Leroy? The pen is mightier than the sword. They don't like that. They don't like the pen. And I'm going to tell you, some of the greatest dialogue that you have in this whole video is coming up, and I chuckle at it every time when you go blah 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 blah, and I love that. I just have to get that in. Look at this, Nan Gallagher checking in. We miss you too, Nan. We love you, and we can't wait to hear your take on this too. We'll do something when you come back, but. Thank you for the $100. I appreciate that. She says, missing my 2 amigos tonight from vacation. See you real soon. Enjoy your vacation. Love you to death. I know Todd does as well.
Love you, Nan.
And yeah, we have another amigo on our panel this evening. Okay, let's keep playing through this here.
Place that
He
debate.
escalated. What a mess.
What?
Welcome. This is
No.
Lieutenant Gaston, Municipal Police. Can you stop talking? I want to finish my offer request. Stop
an
talking.
issue whether the
We don't need to hear
legality
this.
of- the
Blah, blah,
legality
blah,
of
blah,
something
blah.
is in the
Blah, blah,
courtroom,
blah, blah.
not
Blah, blah,
in
blah.
the field. If I ask you to do something,
Blah,
just
blah.
calm down. There's no reason for you to yell at me or
You're-
attack me in any way, shape,
Stop
or form.
talking. Disengage.
It's not the place.
Remove yourself
You
from
stop
me.
from
I have
talking.
no interest in talking with
Because
you.
but
Back
you don't on
off.
the show.
Back
But you
down.
on the show. The
Back
reality
down.
is this is a bustling building.
I want to finish my
Right.
opera. You are disrupting
we've
my
allowed
peace.
you to.
You are harassing
However,
me now.
all right.
Disengage.
I've asked you to leave. Guess what?
Oh.
You won.
Hey!
You won. You won. Oh my God! I read it.
Ow! Ow!
You're under arrest. You're under arrest.
Oh! Oh, shit!
No, stop.
Stop. We can find it. Stop.
Stop resisting.
I'm not resisting. I'm not resisting. I'm not resisting. I'm not resisting.
Leroy.
I'm not resisting. I did nothing wrong.
Relax. 15.
He went hands on.
Leroy.
I did nothing wrong.
Hey, relax.
I'm relaxed.
Good.
Now he's claiming aggravated assault. He went hands on me. I did nothing to him. You tripped on your own. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. You're on me too heavy. I can't breathe.
Hold on, let me lock him up.
We're not on you. We're not on you.
Yes, good point. No, the cop did a LeBron James. Let's just get this. Let's get that. I'm going to put that on the record. This was a flip flop. LeBron James. You know, we're not going to win the finals. I'm giving up. I'm going to flop. But I want to back up here too, and I want to talk a little bit about this. And I have a video that's actually zoomed in, so we'll be able to see the whole flip flop or the cop flop, in my opinion. But Vermont Press Release, $2. Thank you so much for the 2. Say, could you ask Todd about their body cameras? This was a big debate, Todd, about, I guess, lights being on their body camera and people not seeing a light turned on. If a body camera is activated, would there be an LED light that would be lit?
It depends on the actual manufacturer. That I don't know the answer to that question.
Because you can look here, there's Gaston's, and there I don't see any LED there, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I thought it was
the
the
LED
button
could
that
be
have-
in a different position on the camera. I mean, there's a number of possibilities.
because I thought that you trigger them right by that button that's
Yep.
usually below the camera, right?
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah, and let's see, motion say some do, some don't. Yeah, that's very interesting. But let's go to the zoomed in video here. This is pretty telling here about the flop. Here's another interesting point in all of this, Todd. Listen, I've watched a lot of cops on TV in the last, the program's been on 30 years, probably 30 plus years. I have never seen anything in any type of incident when a police officer is trying to arrest a person or put someone in custody actually say, "Oh God, aggravated assault," like call out the charges while they're doing this. I thought that was just very weird and strange. I'm pretty sure, and I'm not going to speak for you, but maybe you can speak and say you've probably never done that in your career in law enforcement. I just found that to be very weird and strange.
A timely statement with all the cameras running in the foreground and the background. Certainly premeditated thought by the lieutenant. But again, it doesn't, again, like it or love it, video shows what it shows. Video don't lie.
And thank God Leroy had that 360 camera. Leroy,
Yeah.
good on you. So, all right, let's watch the cop flop here.
Oh, by the way,
Either you
can you hear me?
police.
I'm not the word police. I'm
Just a little bit.
speak here.
Oh, Brian, can you
No,
pause?
you're not being respectful to me right now.
Brian, can
Go
you hear
ahead.
me? I know it's
Yeah.
hard to hear
Sorry
when
about
the video's on.
Sorry.
Anyone who is doing investigative journalism or First Amendment auditing, presently or in the future, I want you to go out and buy an Insta360 X5 immediately. If you got to put it on a credit card, if you got to borrow money from 10 friends, because if I didn't have that, this could be a whole different story. Because Mayor and Senator Brian Stack, he owns the judicial system in the entire state. And this is complete, clear evidence that this was a setup. And just like you said, Todd, this was premeditated. And between the body language of Officer Ivis Arias, between his blatant flopping, plus I remember when he grabbed me, because people say, well, what do they see in the video? Well, what was it like in person? I was the target. He, number one, we've all seen someone get bitch slapped or surprised out of the blue or sucker punched. And what he did was the equivalent of a sucker punch. I had no idea he was going to grab me. And when he did, it's like, what the freak is he doing? But he grabs me and then inexplicably, like a second later, in an exaggerated fashion, opens his hands and releases me.
Yeah,
What the
it's
hell is
very
that
strange.
about?
Yeah,
And that's what someone does,
it's
like in the
strange.
movies, when you're holding onto the ledge of a building and decide to jump off, backwards, and you go like this.
Right.
And you open your palms.
Brian, could you read Leroy my email I sent you?
Yeah, I did. And we'll read it again. And Todd only has about 5 more minutes, so I want to just do this. Leroy, if you have any more questions for Todd, please use this time to ask him any questions.
Sure.
He does have to jump out at 8. I don't know if you have any questions for him, but please use this time.
All right. Well, just giving me and everyone your assessment is, what do you see happen here from your experience as a retired Massachusetts State Police?
I see Lieutenant Gaston escalating the encounter between yourself and him. What starts off with words continues to escalate. He goes hands-on, as you stated, which was appropriately stated. And Brian asked me to take a look at the video, and I said at one point it looks like he lets go to enhance his fall, or to help himself fall back easier, to make it look like you threw him off or you punched him, or it was somewhat scripted. It was the statement that Brian brought up, yelling out aggravated assault. Who does that? I've never witnessed that, or heard a fellow police officer in heated moments yell an utterance like that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, usually you're hearing "get your hands behind your back," "freeze," take it. I mean, as I said, I told you, Leroy. Todd calls balls and strikes here. He's not,
Right.
He'll call shit out if it's shit. And I told you he was going to say, I've never heard of anything like this. I've never seen anything like this before. It's
Well,
it's
and Todd, when Brian read me your email, I was really happy to hear someone, in the business, lifelong career person. And I know that Brian's, talked about you to me a bit, and that you're just going to call it like it is. You're not for me, you're against me. And I tell everyone, don't be ever for me or against me. Watch the video. People lie, the video doesn't. And objectively, what did you see? And you just shared that with me now. And then when Brian read your email to me, it was like, again, I lived it. I know what happened, because when I saw Gaston grab my arm and then exaggeratedly release it, it was like a slow motion. It's almost like it was slow motion. I look at him, I look at the weird expression on his face, and I see his exaggerated body language, and I'm like, this guy is intentionally falling to pin it on me. And then as soon as he either hit the ground or before he hit the ground, I hear aggravated assault. Yeah, that was a setup.
So odd. And I'll share this with the audience really quick, and then we're gonna let Todd go. I know he has he has an appointment or has to get off at 8. Let's see here. So I had sent, just full disclosure, when this happened immediately. Vinny from Guard State Accountability was so great. He reached out to me graciously and said, hey, I wanted to let you know what's going on with Leroy. He was arrested, and we might have access to a video here. So sent me the video. I unsolicited sent it to over to Todd and said, just give me your thoughts on this. I didn't say anything. So just give me your thoughts. And he wrote, he said, hey, Brian, after review of the video, I believe the charges will be dropped. The lieutenant is a terrible actor. And when viewing the video in slow motion, it looks like he's lets go of Leroy's arm so he can fall back easier. And it says Todd. So that was Todd's unsolicited opinion of this video. And going through it tonight, he still feels the same. Todd, do you think that these charges are going to be dropped? I mean, how do you feel about this?
I do. And I understand the system, Leroy, that you articulated, in your neck of the woods. But, judges are fact finders also, and any embellishment is going to fall on deaf ears, based on the video evidence. So I just, they can make up as many charges as they want. They're not there. They just don't present themselves. And we've seen this in the past, Brian, in doing some of these stories. And the narrative doesn't always add up to what the reality of the video that shows the story.
Yeah. Thank God for that 360 camera.
Oh yeah.
That thing just tells the whole story. Tells the whole story.
Because it puts everything in context too. Because with a straight camera, you only can see what's in front of you. You don't see what's down here. You don't see what's happening with arms, and that's why it's such an incredibly important, critical tool for the work we do.
Absolutely.
Well, that is Todd McGhee. I appreciate, Todd, for you jumping on with us this evening and giving us your unbiased opinion on this. And like you said, we've gone over and seen these. Sean from Long Island Audit, we talked a lot about that. We went through the video, and the video didn't lie. And now look, it's now played out in the court system, and seeing what's happened in that case with one former Connecticut State Trooper, Brian Fahey. So, Todd, I appreciate your expert opinion on this. I appreciate your candor and your openness to discuss this as well. And that's one thing that I love about you, that, you're just a guy that calls the balls and strikes and calls it like it is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got to be that
way. Too. Yeah. Todd, I appreciate you very much too, and your analysis. And
Leroy, nice to meet you. Again, stay strong. I think you're going to fare well. You may have to go through a little bit more shenanigans, but I think in the long run, you're going to fare well.
Thank you. Appreciate that, sir. Hope to talk with you offline soon as well.
I'm around. I'm available.
Right. Excellent.
Brian, good to see you, my friend. We'll talk to you.
Yeah, of course. We'll hook up again soon.
Thanks. Good night, chat. Take care.
All right.
Okay.
Let's see. And if anybody is wanting to help Leroy has a GoFundMe for his legal defense. I have that pinned to the top of the chat. Listen, click on that link. Even $1. If we got on YouTube, we have 1,000 people watching us overall. Even if each one of you put $1 into his legal defense fund. That's $1,000 that would help him. And right now, the defense fund is currently up to. Let's take a look. Oh, look at this, Leroy. You're doing great. 8674. Look at all those great people that have reached
Wow.
out to help to fight back against corruption and to allow you to continue to do investigative journalism and express your First Amendment right. That is phenomenal that we have a community like this
It
that
is.
people will help out. And I think that's great.
It is. I'm really appreciative of everybody who's donating. Even $1 helps, because I've been not only investigating Senator and Mayor Brian Stack for the last 2 years, I've been in court on fighting false criminal charges for the last 2 years. I've been attacked over 60 times, physically attacked. I've had over 20 false criminal charges put against me. I've lost count. There's probably more than that. And numerous of them were no probable cause found. I think at least 10 or 11 were. I've been fighting assault charges. I've been fighting public disruptions charges. Now, the most serious, aggravated assault. And if they convict me of this false charge, I go to state prison for years. There are mandatory minimums in New Jersey. And so I just want to underline the extreme seriousness of this. And I want to keep doing the work I'm doing because I want to move on from Stack. I want the FBI to finally indict and arrest him. And then I'm going to buy a motorhome or a van and travel the entire country for a year, teaching people about the model me and my colleagues, David, the Exposure Report, and Vinny Garcia, Accountability, Scalzo Photo, and now our newest member, Aria of AB Designs, has developed to help you, to teach you, to train you what we have used to hold your own local government people accountable.
I love it. You can call it the Freedom Tour. I think that would be great.
That'd be great. I
Freedom
may use that.
Yeah, that's really good. And I could see like your graphics across the RV, the Freedom Tour. I think that'd be really great.
That would be great. Very colorful, red, white, and blue flag, eagle.
Be great, right? And you
The
go out
White House.
and teach the public about independent journalism and First Amendment auditing. I love what you guys do. I really do, because it's in. I want to let everybody know a series that you're going to want to go check out. Please go to Leroy Truth Investigations and check out his series that he did down in Washington. I thought those were some of the finest videos that you have done on your channel. And just going out, in front of the White House and talking to people about our government and First Amendment auditing. That was a phenomenal series that you did down there. And, and like I said, I encourage everybody to do that. And it takes a lot to get out there and talk to the public in these situations. It takes a lot to do that and not have fear of, the police trying to shut you down, because we have the right to do this. We have the right to go out and talk about these things and talk about it in public to the public and to expose things that, that are wrong. I mean, we've done a lot of work here in the state of Massachusetts. And I talk about, the Karen Reed trial, all the corruption that happened in that trial. And it's spun off into so many things. And that's the thing, is that if you don't start digging into these things, the corruption festers, and people like you, people like Sean Long Island Audit, that literally, what did he hit? He hit 1 million subscribers the other day on his channel.
Did he hit 1 million yet? Did he? I hope he did.
He has. I think he has. Let's
was,
check real quick.
I talked with him yesterday, and he was, I think, 410 or 310 short.
All right, let me see. He might have done it. Let's see. Did he get to 1 million? Oh, he's still a little short. Okay, but please, if you haven't, go subscribe to Sean. He deserves it. He does great work.
Yeah,
does great work, and I know he's been a huge friend to you, and put you in touch with his lawyer, so you have that going on. And I know he's a great lawyer, and I just don't see it. I think there's so much video evidence here that's going to show, that Gaston gaslighted this, pushed it beyond a boundary that it needed to be. And like I said earlier, that if they would have just left you alone, or just left in general, and just let you another minute, your FOIA requests would have been completed and over with.
Exactly. Because I had no interest in engaging with the police. In fact, 2 of them, I had heard they were supporters, and through the last 2 years, and I was really disappointed in Officer Bito, who is the president of the Union City Officers Union, and that I thought he was a supporter, but then he still did the wrong thing when he had that choice point, because I guarantee you, and I had liked Officer Beto a lot up until
Yeah.
that point, but it's one thing to talk theory, like, yeah, for just generally police in Union City, yeah, we'll protect your rights, and there have been at least 13 police officers, by the way, that did protect my rights over the last 2 years, who were told to unlawfully arrest me or to remove me from public buildings. They didn't. And these were not on videos. This was behind the scenes that went on. But Officer Beto could have done the right thing and said, clearly, even though he's a superior officer, quote unquote, stop, de-escalate. Leroy's did
Right.
nothing wrong. And maybe he would have been in a shitload of hot water temporarily, but he would have been the most famous cop within 48 hours, because I would have celebrated the heck out of him. You would have, Long Island Audit, every other channel. Because how many times do we see a good police officer stop a bad police officer in the middle of escalation and then escalating to violence against an innocent journalist? It hardly ever happens. So I would have posted that video in a trillion places after that, and Officer Beto would be a hero to the American people. But instead, he is a coward because he followed along with what he knew was unlawful.
Yeah. No, I agree. Let me do this real quick. Scalzo photo, thanks so much for the 5. I appreciate it. They said the officers yelled, quote, stop resisting, but they never told Leroy to put his hands behind his back. Poor communication by the officers, and you might have a point there to raise with your lawyer, Leroy. This is another good point as well, too. That's a great point. Leroy, I want to thank you for coming on, telling us about your story, spending some time with Todd McGhee, asking the questions. He firmly believes in his opinion. Like you said, you might have to jump through some shenanigans, but in the end of this, this should be all dropped on you. I don't see it. I don't see that they have a case. Thank God for that 360 camera. Give it a kiss, because it deserves one. Because I'm going to tell you, mysteriously, in my opinion, the body cam footage and the security footage probably would have disappeared in this case if you didn't have that camera.
Yeah, you're right. And then it's he said, and they will always believe the police. And I go to prison. And why? In this case, trying to protect children from an alleged predator.
Yeah. Well, keep doing good work in Union City. Keep doing good work overall. Where can we find you on your socials? And I'll make sure one of my moderators drops your link in the chat. Where can we find you?
All right, 2 places. I have not been posting regularly on my YouTube, so I only have 59,000 subscribers. I'm posting now. I have the amazing Aria from AB Designs, my new video editor, and our newest member of the team. He's not just my video editor. He's on our team, the Leroy Truth Tyranny Response team, and he's my friend and our friend. And so I am on. So now, with his incredible expertise, I can just create content and do investigations, and he can then do everything, so we can post regularly. So please subscribe to me on YouTube, on Leroy Truth Investigations, and on Facebook is where 99% of my videos and my posts and different articles are written, on Leroy Truth on Facebook. It's been deleted 5 times allegedly by Mayor Brian Stack. He got it deleted 5 times. I started from scratch. I've got close to only 1,800 subscribers, but it's getting almost 750,000 views a month. And because it's mostly New Jersey, Hudson County views, they're terrified of having Brian Stack know they support me. That's why I have so few subscribers at this point, but so many views on my posts. So please go to Leroy Truth on Facebook. Follow me there. Every day I have 5, 10, 15, 20 different updates based upon what's going on, exposing the huge corruption of Mayor and Senator Brian Stack. And Lieutenant Glenn Gaston now.
Yeah, I love it, Leroy. Continue to do the work that you're doing. We got your back. If you need anything, you need any fundraising, I'll keep dropping the link for you, to try to get you some money here in your legal, for your legal team. And again, you're a friend of this channel. If there's anything that I can do to help you out, please let me know, and I'll do what I can to help out.
I appreciate you. And I just want to acknowledge, I am so happy and honored to have met you, Brian. You are such a gentleman, extremely classy, elegant. I find you to be an extremely articulate and grounded speaker. And I enjoy watching you because you see what's underneath the surface, and then underneath that surface, which most people don't take the time. It takes a lot of patience and discipline and awareness and observation. And Scalzo does the same thing on our team. And I was saying, Scalzo Photo and you get together doing forensic analysis of videos, the world will explode. So Scalzo, you got to do some work with Brian. So
Of course,
I so
anytime.
appreciate you.
Leroy, that's very kind of you. And again, every time that I've been in your presence, you've been very kind to me, very professional, and you've shown me the ropes, to this First Amendment auditing. This is all very, very new to me. I would love sometime to go out on a full audit with you guys and see what you do in your professional work as auditing our government and exposing corruption. I love it. And we still got work to do in Groton. We're not done there. And I'm sure that we're going to be down at the next public meeting asking some questions there as well.
Oh, and Sean's trial's coming up, remember, too.
That's
That's
right.
in December
Yes.
now. So I will be
Yep.
there. Hope to see you there. And we can do some local work there as well together.
Absolutely. That is Leroy Truth from Leroy Truth Investigations. Please subscribe to his YouTube channel. He has tons of content that releases daily. And let's help him out if you can. His support link is at the top of this chat. Click that. Again, we got 980 people watching overall right now. If we could just all pledge $1 to help him out, that's close to almost $1,000 for his legal fund. And we would appreciate this. Leroy, if you have any updates, let us know. We'll have you come back here. And again, I'll keep watching on the channel. And if there's anything that I can do to help out, please let me know.
I appreciate it. Thanks very much, Brian. Thank you, everyone. God bless you. Thanks for your support. Thanks for watching.
I appreciate you. We'll talk soon.
Okay.
All right. All right. That is Leroy Truth from Leroy Truth Investigations. We had the one and only retired Mass State Police Todd McGhee on the show as well. What a great show, and what a great thing to go over. And I love puzzle piecing all these videos together when I get them, and that's what I like to do here, and get down to kind of the nitty gritty and expose corruption, because this is definitely corrupt. Things that are going on with Leroy. And I just have to laugh. I've never seen a police officer say, "Oh God, aggravated assault." I've never seen that. It seemed very staged, and we'll get to the bottom of it. But I want to wish Leroy all the luck again. If he needs any of my services, I'm here to help. And I appreciate all of you for watching this evening. This is a very important video. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and turn your bell notification on, and share this video with your friends and family, and let them know what's going on in Union City. And not only in Union City, this happens all over our nation every day, that citizen journalists, independent journalists get put in situations like this. And it is wrong. It is wrong. We have every right to be there and ask questions as an independent journalist. We have every right to be in these government buildings with our cameras auditing, and we have every right to go in and ask for public information under the Freedom of Information Act. If we do not continue to act on things like this, if we don't continue to go out and ask questions, they, meaning the government, will shut us down. They, meaning corrupt police officers, will shut us down. And we can't let that happen. It is our God-given right to be there and ask these questions and do these things. So with that being said, I appreciate everybody for supporting the channel tonight. Please, again, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. 80% of the people that watch this channel are not subscribed. You want to be subscribed so you can see great content like this. Again, I'm Brian LTL, and I will be back soon. Thanks for checking in, and thanks to my guests, Leroy and Todd, this evening. All right, everybody, take care, and I will see you all soon. Peace.